and welcome to this Electricity Subcommittee meeting number 241 held today, the 8th of April 2025. My name is Nomfundo Maseti, and I will be chairing today's meeting as the member that is responsible for electricity. With me today, I have the Chairperson of the Energy Regulator, Mr. Thembani Pukula. Mr. Pukula, would you like to greet the members so that they can calibrate your voice when you're speaking?
Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Ms. Maseti. I'm sure they've been able to calibrate.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to introduce the CEO of NERSA, Ms. Nomalanga Sithole, Advocate Sithole.
As indicated earlier, she is still on her way to the meeting.
All right, that's fine. Maybe Advocate Sithole will then join us a little bit later. I would like to now introduce another member of the Electricity Subcommittee, Ms. Thembeka Semane, who is the member of the committee as well as the Chairperson of Finance at NERSA. Ms. Semane.
Morning, Madam Maseti, and good morning to the members of the public and our NERSA colleagues.
Thank you very much. Let me now introduce the member primarily responsible for petroleum pipelines and the member of the Electricity Subcommittee, Mr. Muzuvukile Mkhize. Mr. Mkhize. Right, Mr. Mkhize is in the meeting. I think he just has a challenge with the mic. I think I've introduced all of the members. Advocate Sithole will be joining us in the next few minutes. With that, members, I would like us to then go to the agenda. There are matters that have been withdrawn in the agenda, members, and that is item number 9. Just for the record, which is the terms of license to operate. Number 10, the draft microgrid regulatory rules, as well as number 13, as there was no submission, which is on the ArcelorMittal matter. So those 3 matters have been removed from the agenda. With that, members, are you happy to adopt the agenda without those 3 matters? By show of hands, members, if you do. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Semane. Thank you, Mr. Pukula. I also support Mr. Mabunda. Can you assist if there's another person? I don't see the hand from Mr. Mkhize.
Mr. Mkhize's hand is up, Chair.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, members. With that, members, I would like to just remind you to sign the declaration forms. The declaration of interest forms, they have been uploaded. If you can kindly fill them in and submit them to Mr. Mabunda. Are there any verbal declarations that members would like to make for the agenda items? By show of hands, members, if you do. Without, okay, there are no hands. With that, members, I would like to go straight to the substantive items for today's meeting. And I'm going to the regulatory report, starting with number 5, the National Free Basic Electricity Rate for compensation of Eskom's local authorities for 2025-2026. I've already introduced it. I would like Mr. Sichotlo and your team to go straight to the discussions. We've got 3 minutes to touch on the issues. Mr. Shoso, you can introduce if you like, and then we get the person from EPT.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, Chair, it's one of the submissions that we normally bring to the Energy Regulator for approval. The submission seeks to get an approval from the Energy Regulator with regards to the rate that will be charged by Eskom for providing the FBE in areas where in the areas within the municipalities. It's a rate that is always adjusted annually. But I have Ms. What she will take the members through in terms of the issues that members have previously raised around the commission that is paid by Eskom to the agent or service providers, and also touch based on what NERSA is doing around the quantity, because with the 50 kilowatt hour has been the members of the public have in our engagement have been saying if but we, as a regulator, we don't have a mandate over that, but we do have engagements that we are having with the policymakers. We'll also touch on that. And then again, we'll also touch on the issue around the clawback, what we mean by the rates before and after clawback. With that, Chair, I will let me invite Ms. Sikwati to come and present. Kangwe, if you may come in.
Okay, morning. The purpose of this submission is to request the electricity subcommittee to recommend to the energy regulator to approve the NFBE rate for the compensation of Eskom by local authorities for the 2025-26 financial year. The NFBE rate is the rate at which Eskom is reimbursed, as Mr. Mondli indicated. The rate is adjusted annually using the methodology that was approved by the energy regulator. The free basic electricity is provided to households by the municipalities, but in areas where Eskom is the supplier, Eskom provides the FBE on behalf of the municipalities. So the contracts between Eskom and vendors expired in November 2024. So Eskom has now awarded 3-year new online vending agency contract to 5 companies, effective from 1st December 2024 to 30 November 2027. The contracted commission for this financial year is 3.50 cent kilowatt per hour, and then the new vending rate is lower compared to the previous one for the 2024-25 financial year, which is a good thing as this has an impact on the rate. The 2024-25 vending rate was 4.18 cents per kilowatt hour. When determining the NFBE rate, the forecasted volume is used. So Eskom then annually finished the regulator with the total number of qualifying customers who collected their FBE allocation per municipality for the previous year audited financial year, because we have 1 year lag. We cannot use the unaudited information, so we have 1 year lag in between. And then should there be any difference between the actual and forecasted FBE volume, the difference will be subjected to the clawback payback mechanism. The NFBE rate before the clawback was 219.61 cents per kilowatt, and then after the clawback, it went down to 219.43. That's the rate that Eskom will be charging the municipality, as indicated in Table 2. This means that it is payback to the municipality. Last year, the energy regulator also raises numerous occasions highlighted the concern regarding the adequacy of the FB implementation challenges, especially the viable of the 50 kilowatt per month, if considering the economic condition changes since that was implemented in 2003. This issue was included in the stakeholder engagement and advocacy program for 2024-25 financial year initiative. And then and few initiatives were conducted, and then the meeting with the OEE was also held on the 12th of March 2025, and it will continue through the 2026 financial year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sikwadi. I would like to open the submission up for the members' clarification, if there are any questions of clarity. By show of hands, members. Okay, seems the, let's see, Mr. Mkize, is it Mr. Mkize?
Thank you, Chairperson, and thanks, Madam Sikwati, for the presentation. Apologies for the earlier glitch. I'm now using a different instrument that is also linked to the convene itself, which is going to make me take some time when responding. I'm in the office, by the way, because our team is in the office for today. Just two things only from my side to say that under 5.2, I think it is important to add that whilst we say we don't have the mandate, we just need to then maybe say something to the effect that we should provide feedback to the policymaker regarding the implementation of the FBE policy, because that is, as a first line of implementation, we ought to do that. And then under 5.7, if they can just make sure that formula there is correct by placing the brackets where it should be. I think after that clawback or payback in rands, there should be a second bracket and remove the one at the end, because I think that the focus FB volumes are dividing that whole sum preceding it, which is the total energy cost and the total vending commission, plus or minus the clawback or payback. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mkhize. I don't think you need to respond, Mr. Shozi. I think those 2 points are just points of enhancements. As Mr. Kwati already spoke about the regulator advocacy initiative and the engagements that they held with the department. So those issues are already taken care of. If you can just update that paragraph, just to indicate that you are raising those issues with the department. That will be fine. And also the issue of the formula in paragraph 5.7. Right, members, with that, the decision that is sought, it is on page, sorry, I'm just going to the paragraph 15.1. It is recommended that the electricity subcommittee recommends that the energy regulator approves the NFBE rate of 219.43 cents per kilowatt hour for the 2025-26 municipal financial year, effective from 1st July 2025. By show of hands, members, if you agree with this decision. Thank you, Ms. Semane. Mr. Mkhize, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Pukula. I also support. Thank you very much, members. To the next agenda item. It is item number 6. It is item number 6 in the agenda. It is concurrence with the Section 34 ministerial determination for the procurement of 400 megawatts of new generation capacity by eThekwini Metro from independent producers. 100 megawatts being the solar PV, as well as 300 megawatts of natural gas. Please take the matter as having been read and emphasize on the key issues, including those that were raised by the members during the public hearing.
Thank you, Chair. You have read the purpose of the submission, Chair. The submission, this matter is a paper that went out, and subsequent to that, we had a public hearing in March, in February, where there were presenters presenting on the matter. And we also had engagement with members around the issues raised in Table 1, where members guided us going forward in terms of how we should craft the questions when it comes to the determination. We should not deviate on what the determination seeks to achieve. We have taken that into consideration, and we accept that going forward, we should be able to craft better questions than before. In addition to that, Chair, we also in our RFD, the concerns raised by the members around the questions that were omitted in our consultation paper have been addressed in Section 7 to ensure that we cover the draft determination holistically. Chair, we are here to the committee to request that the committee recommends this so that the process from the minister can start, can be concluded with regards to the procurement of energy by eThekwini municipality. Chair, I will take the submission as been read, and then I will allow members to come in and if they want further clarity on the submission. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shozi, on that. Members, the submission is before you. Any questions of clarity, any enhancements? By show of hands, members, if you do have.
I would just like there to insert the alignment with the IDP that is the aspect that I don't see the integrated development plan of the metropolitan municipality. I think it's important to include that because that is also what is required in terms of that concurrence to be provided. I think also it goes further to say when one looks at paragraph, I think it's 5.4, I think there are some gremlins there. If you may just do language editing, the proper phrasing of 5.4.3 and 5.4.1. I think if one were to also to start with the scope of concurrence and then let the others be subservient to that or follow after that scope has been outlined, which is in line with the comment that was put forth during the pre-hearing. And then when it comes to the, I think when it comes to 5.6, under 5.6, I think there should be a 5.7, which will include those who opposed the concurrence and what their reasons were, just at a high level. I think it's important just to balance this because it's at a majority. They supported it. And if I recall, it was also one of the things was around the IDP. And there should be satisfaction that those have been addressed. And I think that on the submission itself, under abbreviations, I take it that you are going to take this through language editing. And I think that the DOEE instead of the DEE and other small things that you need to then work on, you will do exactly that. In terms of the language editing throughout. And also on the definitions, just make sure that the way it is, the issue of natural gas is written, is consistently aligned with the meaning that you have provided for it. Because you provide natural gas as gas and diesel for power generation and not as a standalone substance. So just to make sure that when you go through the document that is aligned, I will leave it at that. Thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Mr. Shozi, I think some also are just issues of enhancements, but you can just come in if you have something to clarify. The only part there is the DOEE in the official documents from the department. They write even in their letters. But then it's something that we can just take it out. They write DEE as opposed to DOEE. Mr. Shozi, please quickly, if you can respond if there's anything you want to say.
Yes, Chair, I take the comment from Mr. Mkhize. Yes, we take note of the comments and appreciate you will take them as enhancement, and there will be action as such.
All right. Now, thank you very much, members. As I'm taking you to the decision. The areas of enhancements, as proposed by Mr. Mkhize, will be incorporated, especially on the part where there's a need for an alignment with the IDP, as well as the stakeholders who were sort of objecting or opposing, not objecting, opposing with the proposed concurrence on the basis of it not being considered or the projects not being considered in the IDP. So that part is also going to be incorporated. With that, members, I would like then to take you to the decision. The Electricity Subcommittee is requested to recommend to the Energy Regulator to concur or approve the concurrence with the Section 34 ministerial determination. And as read out, it is 400 megawatts, 100 megawatts being for solar PV, 300 megawatts being for natural gas. By show of hands, members, if you support the decision. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. Thank you, Mr. Pukula. Thank you, Madam Samane. I also support. Thank you, members, for the support of the decision. Members, we're on item number 7. Item number 7 is the electricity generation. And if you can just read out that title, take it as read. Read out the title for me. There was just a small glitch from my side. Item number 7.
Thank you, Chair. With your permission, Chair, item number 7 and 8 are similar. If Chair is fine, I would like to introduce them simultaneously, but when I'm going to the decision that is being sought, I will, if that is fine by you, Chair.
Mr. Shozi, I think we are losing you somewhere. We didn't get what you were saying, but the gist of what you were saying, I understand. But if you can try and shift from where you are so that we can clearly hear you, if you can do that. But you can introduce both item number 7 and item number 8 together. We will take comments on each of them and also make sure that the decisions are taken separately.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chair, these project plans, we submit them before the start of the new financial year, which is now we are in 2025-2026 financial year for each regulated division, generation, transmission, and distribution. We have already submitted the plans for distribution, which have already been approved. For this one, team is slightly delayed. So, but we should be going forward. These plans should be submitted before the start of the financial year. The purpose of this plan, Chair, of these plans is to indicate to the committee on what audit, the number of audits that will be conducted in each financial year. In terms of the mandates, as you Chair will know that one of the activities that we do as ELC, we conduct audits at generation level, at transmission and distribution. So the first one, Chair, on item number 7, it's a plan for a generation compliance audit for 2025-2026. Chair, on this one, again, I would like to make some few corrections that we have identified with the team. The plan is supposed to start from the 1st of April and ends end of the financial year, which is the 31st of March 2026. But in our plan, we extended beyond our financial year. So we'll, when we execute the plan, we'll amend it such that it ends by the 31st of March 2026. So, Chair, on this one for transmission, we are requesting the energy regulator or ELS to approve this plan to be executed for this financial year. The plan is attached as Annex A of agenda item number 7. Chair, let me pause there for this one and let members engage item number 7.
All right, thank you very much, members. Yes, the plan is before us. Any comments, any suggestions? Thank you, Mr. Pukula. You may go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I may be confused. I think Mr. number 7, it talks transmission. To me, 7 is a generation. But the point really is that on the plans, if we look at the page 5 of 10, our scope is to look at 20 audits for wind and solar power stations. My suggestion would be that we cannot at this stage leave the other generation plants that are not performing and go and just audit the wind and solar plants that are doing fine after all. So we need to just alter our plan to include 1 or 2 of the generation stations that have been troublesome over the last 18 months or 12 months. Thank you, Chair. The same with transmission, if we're going to treat it like this. We can't just be looking at that. We also need to start auditing according to the TDP, the areas where transmission is going to be expanding the plant, or the areas where transmission is in progress in expanding the plant, so as to keep in touch with what we had approved in the MYPD. And those are my contributions, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pukula. Mr. Mkhize.
Thanks, Chairperson, and thanks, Shows, for the presentation. I'm partly covered by Mr. Pukula here in terms of the criteria for choosing the areas to visit. To say that we've had troublesome plants or plants that are not well performing, so there should be a balance. Being able to visit those, as also I'll take it to be more like a precursor to a fully fledged prudency assessment, or efficiency assessment. Should such be warranted. I take it also that in terms of the transmission development plan, we'll also be looking to synchronize it with the development in terms of the projects, being able to put new infrastructure on board. And thirdly, and lastly, I think it will also help that from a point of view of being cost effective, to consider some of these together with visits, site visits to these plant as a oversight visit by the regulator, or at least maybe this very committee in terms of the oversight visit. So I'm just appealing for that kind of creating space for such, so that it can be evaluating from a point of view of gaining insights of what is happening on the ground. Those are just my inputs and guidance of the matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that input. Mr. Shozi, anything that you would like to respond to? I think there was...
Thanks,
yeah,
thanks,
in terms
Chair.
of how it
Yes,
goes to take
yeah, the
forward.
guidance is is appreciated, Chair. As we are aware that when we do this audit, we also come back with our quarterly report. So we'll amend the plan to include what the members have added. So that information will be provided through our quarterly in terms of how we have implemented the guidance of the members.
All right. Thank you very much. Members, I think for the record, it is recommended then that the team prioritizes the plants that have some challenges, and those plants that we know that we have assigned money for in terms of the MYPD, that is also in terms of the transmission, and also check the generation units where we have some challenges. If we can make sure that in terms of prioritization, you will prioritize those, have some targeted audits that you are going to do, and also consider visits maybe during the course of the year if you can create space for that. With that, members, the decision is that, can you assist with the decision, Mr. Mabunda? Having some challenges with my device. Mr. Mabunda, can you please assist with the decision? Read it
Chair,
out.
on
item number 7, and then read it
Chair,
out so that we take a decision.
Chair. Yes, item number 7, it is requested that the recommended that the energy regulator approves the electricity generation compliance audit for 2025-2026 financial year, which is attached as Annex A, subject to those improvements.
Thank you very much, members. By show of hands, if you support that decision on item number 7 on the generation. Thank you, Madam Samane. Thank you, Mr. Pukula. I also support. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you very much, members. May you please then read out the decision that is sought in terms of item number 8 on transmission.
Thank you, Chair. The Security Subcommittee is requested to approve the transmission plans and enforcement audit plan for 2025-2020, subject to the enhancement to as guided by the. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shozi. Members, if you are in support of item number 8, the decision that is sought, with the request that there must be prioritization of those plants that have some challenges and those plants that will affect the costs that are allocated in terms of the MYPD6. By show of hands, members. Thank you, Mr. Pukula. Thank you, Madam Samane. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. I also support. Item number 9 has been removed. Item number 10 has been removed. On item number 12, Mr. Mabunda, may you please just for the record, read out the title for item number 12. I'm having some trouble. I'm trying to shut down the app convene.
Thank you, Chair. Is it 12 or it's 11, Chair?
Sorry, it is 11.
I think we're at 11. This one is a consultation on ESCOM's request for a temporary amendment of Samanco Chrome Ferrochrome Limited and Glencore Morathi Chrome Venture Ferrochrome Smelters negotiated price agreement take-or-pay terms. I think the team can, Mr. Shozi can take it through to introduce it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There's Mr. Pukula's hand is still up. Sorry, before you come in, Mr. Shozi, let me check if Mr. Pukula has something to say. Mr. Pukula?
Apologies, Chair.
Okay.
Drop my hand.
All right, thank you. Mr. Shozi, you may go ahead introducing number 11.
Thanks, Chair. Chair, the submission will be presented in detail by Ms. Mabinya. But Chair, this is a consultation paper that we seek to post on our website, calling for comments for the industry regard the proposed amendment on the contract between the ESCOM and the two smelters. Chair will recall that when we approve NPAs, we also have some conditions that are attached to those NPAs. One of those conditions is the performance of those smelters around the load factors. It says the load factors should not be less than 70%. So during the NPAs were implemented, the two smelters have experienced some hardship, which has led into them being able to meet those two load factors. So in their contract, there is a clause take or pay. So when you fail to meet the load factor, then the CNC, in this case ESCOM, will penalize you for that. They are coming to the regulator to say they have seen that they are not in a position to improve the load factors for the various reasons. Ms. Mabinya will explain that, and proposing options that probably temporary options that they want to explore that will make them meet that condition so that they don't be subjected to penalties. But they could not just amend that those contracts, because those contracts are linked to the energy regulator decision. So I have Mbonsen as well to explain why we are going a consultation.
Yeah, we need to draft a letter because in our last meeting.
Oh, Mr. Hore, don't do that. We've spoke about this yesterday, that it must not happen in any subcommittee meeting. Please go ahead, Mr. Shozi.
Thanks, Chair. Let me invite Ubuye to just come in so that we don't waste any time. Ms. Mabinya, please come in and talk to details on the submission. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chozi. Good morning, Chairperson, members and colleagues. Over and above what Mr. Chozi has said is that Samanco and Glencore both approach ESCOM indicating that they are struggling to meet the take-or-pay clause as per these agreements because the price of the ferrochrome has decreased as a result of a decrease in demand and an oversupply in the market. And as such, customers have to cut on production. And although these customers have cut back on production, they are still liable to ESCOM in terms of the take-or-pay clause. And then in their request, ESCOM, as Mr. Shode has said, they are requesting two options. The first one being a group option, that the load factor be measured at a group level
versus being measured at a plant level. And this option will allow the continuation of production for these smelters. The second option that is being proposed is the smelter option, which means there will be a waiver of the take-or-pay requirement at plant level, meaning that the customers will switch off all the production at the nominated smelters, and each customer will then have an option of choosing one of the two options. This requirement, Chairperson, does not affect the main decision, which is the tariff. It's affecting the contractual obligations between the two parties. And the reason we are consulting, Chairperson, is because the requirement to amend the contracts impacts the previous decision that has been made by the energy regulator. Therefore, there is a need to take the submission to a public participation process. And then, therefore, Chairperson would request ELS to note the letter received from ESCOM outlining the requirement to amend the take-of-pay terms. We also request ELS to approve the consultation paper and also to approve the indicative timelines as indicated in the submission. And thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. May you please add for the members this issue of the group load factor to the requirements of the framework. I think that must be that, because you're stating the issue of the options, and we have to also clarify the issue of the group load factor. Is this something that is considered in the framework, number one? And number two, if that then happens, there are other entities that have more than one plant. If now the volumes are going to be aggregated so that you consider the group volumes and the load factor, is that something that the energy regulator is able to do? Because you present it as an option, tell us whether the energy regulator can do that, and if it is then done, I think the issue of the consistency that we spoke about. Can you please assist there before I allow members to come in?
Thank you, Chairperson. So in terms of the framework, the framework requires that an NPA must have a minimum 70% load factor, and they must also consume 80% gigawatts in terms of electricity consumption. So then the regulator has approved for each of these NPAs this condition. However, the framework does not necessarily say that it must be at a group level. But however, ESCOM is requesting that this be proposed and submitted at a group level so that the condition of the take-or-pay clause is met at group level versus the plant level that has been approved by the regulator. And that is why, Chairperson, now we are requesting to consult, because this request that ESCOM is making is affecting the decision that was previously made by the regulator, that this take-or-pay term must be done at a plant level. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. All right. Members, any questions of clarity, any suggestions, guidance to the team? By show of hands, members. You may go ahead, Mr. Pukula, followed by Mr. Mkize.
Chairperson, this is a bit of a challenge because a number of the NPAs, I think even the one that we are not discussing today, AMSA was also trying to propose the same kind of situation where they would be looked at as a group, and that was being rejected by ESCOM. And I do remember, I may not remember the names, I do remember other cases where these have been rejected if the facilities are not standalone. We also had just approved in the MYPD that would be charging per point of delivery, because we were saying that each point of delivery must stand on its own. So this would have to be an exemption on what we approve. I'm not opposed to the consultation, so that we make the decision having made the consultation. But all I am saying that this is now moving us to a point where we may have to consider an industrial tariff or a tariff for all of these other entities. And though they would be advantaged, those that are connected to ESCOM, but so will it be. But this situation is leading us towards that, because the conditions that were set are not being met. And when we start now changing those conditions, it may not look as good as we would want it to look. And in fact, we should be challenged by others that did not meet this condition. That's my contribution, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pukula. You are spot on those issues that we've also touched on. Mr. Mkhize.
Thanks, Chair, and thanks to the presenters. I'm partly covered by what Mr. Pukula said, because I think we need to be consistent with our other decisions with regard to charging at the point of delivery, dealing with it from that point of view. And as we were going to consult, I think without necessarily seeking to delay, one would also need to consider maybe focus engagements. Particularly, I tend to not be sure whether isn't this talking to the core of the framework itself in some way, and therefore needing some kind of one would say that the parties that were key in the development of the framework itself to kind of have weigh in this regard and stage as to the deviation from this main say element of the agreement. And two, since this talks to market conditions going forward, and you are putting a 6 months period, but we know very well that the turmoil that has been caused by a variety of issues in the market and geopolitical space, isn't there need for also focus engagement with a department like DTIC and others, including Treasury, in terms of looking at what this means in the long, in terms of the term that we're looking at, the horizon, which will also then talk to the issue of saying there were, when looking at the NPA, there were certain issues that were being safeguarded. For example, the employment of the people, because there is a macroeconomic benefit that was sought. Under these conditions, one would also then tend to ask, what are the macroeconomic benefits that are being secured still? Because we don't want to also make changes and find that actually people might still be getting retrenched, or you might get lower than envisaged macroeconomic benefits. So to recalculate everything so that one can really have a better view as to what we're talking about, and also to then consult parties outside of ESCOM and the person, the entities in agreement with ESCOM on the NPA. That would be my input, Chairperson, in terms of those focus engagements. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Mr. Shozi, I would like to get back to you to clarify certain things. I think it's important that we clarify certain things. And also you may invite members of the team that participated in this.
Thanks, Chair. If I may call Mr. Mrati to come in, but what Mr. Bula said is okay. I'm aligned to what he said, because the issue that you have just withdrawn also has the same issue, which let me not talk about it. But Chair, we need around the issue that is raised by Mr. Mkhize on the framework itself. We as a team, we also thought the framework needs to, if it can be reviewed so that it talks to the current situation, because at the time when it was drafted, it could not foresee what is current now. So the proposed solution, if they have to happen on a permanent basis, then it means that the framework would have to. Okay. But I would want to invite Mr.
You're cutting, Mr. Shozi. I don't know, but it's fine. Please try to position yourself properly. I know that you are in transit, and we appreciate the fact that you availed yourself. Then get the member of the team who can clarify these things. They were all discussed. And we must also make sure that, remember that the framework is an interim framework. So as we implement it, we have to note certain things, and then those things can be taken up with the departments, including some of the challenges. And that already is something that the teams behind the scene, they are doing currently. So if Mr. Mkhize, you can just note that, and when there is a report that is ready, we've got version 1 of the report, we're working on version 2 of the report, that on things that we're picking up, and perhaps some of the issues that can be raised with the policymakers. So it's just that it's something that will be discussed outside of this meeting. It's work in progress, let me put it that way. Mr. Murati?
Thanks, Chairperson. I think let me firstly acknowledge the comment made by the Chairperson, Mr. Bukula, that it actually touches on the core of how we should be proceeding to take decisions on regulatory matters that are brought before the energy regulator. And to also touch on the issue that Mr. Mkhize has raised, that part of the issues that comes out in the interim framework, they seem to, because it was designed for a particular time, that there's a need to relook into the totality of the framework to align it with the conditions. Because when you look at the framework, it creates a view like that it's a once-off approach that is used, that when an application is made by an applicant to a licensee, be it Eskom or a municipality, then the assessment is done, and once the decision is taken, the framework doesn't regenerate a revisit to the issues. But when you also probably look into the framework from a value-oriented kind of approach, that it has issues that are fluid in nature, that requires a constant monitoring, that in the contracts would enable certain amendments to be made. But because the departure point of the contract is from the decision made by the energy regulator, therefore there is a need to bring back that any amendments or adjustments that needs to be made to align the contract with the supplementary contracts with the decision of the energy regulator. And it is at that point that what the chair has touched on, we need to be independently evaluating the issues that are being raised to ascertain whether are they issues that requires an amendment, or is it issues that are of an administrative in nature, that certain failures existed, not because there is a change in the market conditions. They also need to probably try to touch lastly on the issue that the framework and how we made decisions. The framework makes reference to an applicant, I believe, and we believe that ESCOM looked at it from that point, that it must be an applicant, and the consumption that Ms. Maviya has made reference to, it's made reference to an applicant and not necessarily a plant. It might be an applicant with one plant or an applicant with a variety of plants. Then when the decision is made, it is in that format that then it gets to be implemented. And ESCOM is coming back to seek that amendment to say, we need then to relook into these issues. And based on the outcome of this consultation, that is the part that then the position of the industry in terms of whether the group is something that can be recognized or it will be left only to the plant, then it will become the decision that should be applied consistently. I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Murati. I think the key points, as we have also discussed, even with, obviously, the framework does not talk about group load factor and all of that. It simply talks about the minimum consumption. So then the person, it is one of the factors that will make the entity qualify. The point that we have made and even raised by Mr. Bukula is the fact that when we looked at the RTP, the restructuring request or application by ESCOM said that it is no longer going to charge per, at a sort of a group or consolidated points of supply. It will look at an individual point of supply. So for purposes of cost reflectivity. Now, if in these instances, we're now looking at the two plants because those are going to be 2 points of supply. Now, how is it going to work if it gets aggregated so that you then look at the sort of aggregated sort of load factor in this case? So that is one of the things that we have raised and that we are talking about. That's number one. And that part is a part of the decision that was taken by the energy regulator as applied for by ESCOM. So there is that aspect. It might not be of a big issue if ESCOM may actually come back and feel that people, there are certain things that are not necessarily working, but approach the regulator in that regard. The second thing that that is being raised by the members is the issue of consistency in the application of the framework itself and in ESCOM's consideration of applications that are brought before ESCOM as a licensee by different entities. So if now, for purposes of meeting the minimum threshold, if now they take aggregated consumption levels, is that something that they're going to consider also for others, because others have already been rejected? So that is the concern by the members. So if that can also, we can, perhaps for purposes of the consultation paper, there can be questions, members, that are raised around those issues in terms of implementing the requirements of the framework. There could be questions that are raised touching on those issues. I don't know what members are thinking, if there's additional points or guidance from the members. Mr. Bukula, sorry to target you on this one. I will ask other members.
Thank you, Chair. I think, Chair, we're going to have to add them, as much as it is not the AMSA application has not been made public, but it's been public enough that it's been spoken about in news everywhere, and we have the benefit of the communication between AMSA, ESCOM, and us. So I think we must include it, because if we don't answer it for this one, we're going to have to answer it anyway for AMSA.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mkhize, on the two issues that I've raised, any point from your side? Okay, let me check Madam Semane. Ms. Semane, can you hear me?
Yes, Madam Masset. Sorry, I was looking at convene. I'm covered, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Advocate Sithole.
Chair, I was just trying to ascertain which item are we on. Apologies for joining now, but with the interaction that I had towards the end of this discussion, I do support the position of the majority. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mkhize, I didn't exclude you. If you're able to unmute, you can indicate whether you are aligned in terms of making sure that in the consultation paper, there will be questions that are asked in respect of the issues that have been raised or the guidance that has been provided. With that, members, then I would like to take you to the decision and taking into account the points that are raised to enhance the consultation paper. I would like to then take the members to the decision that is sought. The members or the subcommittee is requested to note the request from ESCOM to amend or adjust the take-or-pay agreement. And that is the first one for Samanco as well as Glencore. And then secondly, to approve the consultation paper for public consultation. And then thirdly, what is the third point, Mr. Shozi? Ms. Mabiya?
It's to approve the proposed timelines, Chair. Thank you.
Yes, the implementation. Yes, the implementation. Yes, that is the third thing, so that we make sure that these matters are looked at and processed efficiently. Members, by show of hands, if you are in agreement with those three decisions that are sought. Thank you, Madam Semane. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Mr. Bukula. Advocate Sithole, are you happy to support? Thank you, Advocate Sithole. Thank you, members. Members, we are now on item number 12. Please take it as read. Item number 12, Mr. Shozi.
Thanks, Chair. May I please call Mr. Pupa and his team to introduce this one? My network is bad. Mr. Pupa, you may come, please.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shozi. Good morning, members, and good morning, colleagues and members of the public. For this item, I'll call on Mr. Mategwani to take the members through it. But just to give a brief background, these are the audits that were done on generation, and there were 4 audits that were done for this quarter, namely Aurora Wind, Repercept, Chaba Wind, and Asset Renewables Wind. And then Mr. Mategwani can take the members through the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank Mr. Cooper, and good morning to the members. The purpose of this submission is to request the Electricity Subcommittee to note the consolidated report on the electricity generation industry compliance audit conducted in the fourth quarter of 2024-2025 financial year, attached as Appendix A. The ELS is empowered to note the quarterly report as per Section 3.2 of the approved delegation matrix of 29 August 2024. The team conducted compliance audit in 4 licenses in the fourth quarter, listed on Table 3 of this submission, and their compliance status are listed on Table 4 of this submission. The board members are therefore requested to approve the recommendation on Section 14 of this submission. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Members, any questions of clarity? Any guidance? By show of hands, members? If not, members, I would like to take you to the decision. The decision, can you read it out again, Mr. What's the name? Mr. Hopa.
Okay, the decision is for the noting of the fourth quarter report for generation audits. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, by show of hands, if you are in support of that decision. Thank you, Mr. Pukula. Thank you, Madam Samane. Thank you, Advocate Sitole. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. Thank you very much, members. Members, we are done with item 14, item 12. Item 13 has been withdrawn. Mr. Mabunda, can you assist here? Because I'm using one device. Mr. Mabunda?
Mr. Mkize, send this up.
I think it's a delayed hand.
So that was the last item that was the last item on the meeting, Chair. If the others you can guide, yes, we can now, yeah.
Thank you very much. All right, that was the last item on the matters that the subcommittee was required to deliberate in the public domain. We are now going to consider governance matters, and I would like to thank all the stakeholders that have joined us through various platforms in order to observe the proceedings of the electricity subcommittee. Thank you very much. The meeting is now closed for the members of the public. We are going to consider governance matters. Thank you so much.